I will now call to order the March 7, 2024 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please take the roll call?
Yes, Chair Smith. First, our staff support today. Clerk to the Board, Tony Mayernick, County Counsel, Stephen Madcore. Commissioner West is out of the office on military leave. Roll call. Commissioner Shull.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Smith.
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We are holding this meeting in person and virtually. If you've joined us via Zoom for this meeting and are interested in providing public comment, we will prompt you how to do that when the time is right. General public comment will be taken at the usual allotted time. I would like to remind all participants, including staff, elected officials, and members of the public, that Robert's Rules of Order will be followed in this business meeting. We welcome your opinions and look forward to your polite participation. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, what's the first item?
First item today, Chair and Commissioners, is the consent agenda. Tony, would you please read the consent agenda?
Elected officials, item 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. Item 2, approval to accept a Victims of Crime Act and Criminal Fines Account non-competitive program grant from the Oregon Department of Justice. Grant value is $1,526,474 for 2 years. Funding is through federal and state grant funds. No county general funds are involved for the District Attorney's Office. Transportation and Development, item 1, approval to apply for a Bridge Investment Program discretionary grant for construction funding to replace the Southeast Bull Run Road, Bull Run River Bridge. Total contract phase value is $18 million. Grant funding to be matched by county road funds and the Portland Water Bureau. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of a goods and services contract with North Santiam Paving Company for 3/8-inch number 4 rock chip rock for 2024 chip seal resurfacing projects. Total contract value $551,250 over 3 months. Funding through Oregon House Bill 2017 funds. No county general funds are involved. Item number 3, approval of a public improvement contract with Angelo Underground LLC for the Southwood Park Area ADA project. Total contract value $178,205.68 over 9 months. Funding through Oregon House Bill 2017 funds. No county general funds are involved. Health, Housing, Human Services, item 1, approval of revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for financing community mental health, addiction treatment, recovery and prevention, and problem gambling services. Agreement value is $16,092,821.83 for 18 months. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Item 2, approval of amendment number 1, updating the language of a revenue lease agreement with Genoa Healthcare LLC for lease of clinical space. Amendment net value is $122.34 and 2 months. Agreement value increased to $12,120.06 for 20 months. Funding is through Genoa Healthcare LLC. No county general funds are involved. Item 3, approval of amendment number 6 to a revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for financing of public health services. Amendment value is $18,410.27. Total agreement value increased to $5,964,462.83 for 1 year. Funding through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. Item 4, approval of a personal services contract with Northwest EMS LLC for emergency medical services, medical director services. No contract value is $447,189 for 3.5 years. Funding through American Medical Response Agreement, franchise fees. No county general funds are involved. Item 5, approval to apply for an emergency response grant from the Oregon Department of Human Services for developmentally disabled individuals. Grant value is $563,000. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Human Services. No county general funds are involved. Madam Chair, that concludes the list.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioner wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Martha.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
Commissioner Schrader has moved we approve the consent agenda, and it has been seconded by Commissioner Shull. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Tony, would you please take the poll?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schull,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Chair Smith.
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Holy cow, we are already up for public communication. The portion of this agenda shall be limited to items of county business which are properly the object of board consideration and should be nonpartisan in nature, as the BCC is a nonpartisan governing body under Oregon Revised Statutes and County Code. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes. Comments shall be respectful and courteous to all. As a reminder, you can email your submission to bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as part of the public record. I will now open the meeting for public testimony, and I will take in-person testimony first. I have a card here, and I'm sorry if I cannot pronounce your name correctly. It is Darlene. Darlene.
Let's make them, M-A-C-H-U-M.
Macomb. Darlene Macomb. Please come forward, ma'am. Yes, of course. You both may come up. And would you like to pull out a chair for her?
Yeah, here.
Thank you.
There you go.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Please state your name.
Darlene Adamson Macomb. I have been a property owner at Eagle Creek for ever since I was in my 20s. We bought a place, and it had an old house on it that caught fire and burned in the late 60s. And we had a little old house, and we moved into that while the house was torn down, and I bought a house through HUD. And we just lived in the new house just for a little while when my husband died. And I have 6 children. And my sons went into the military. And they, like that one there, he put in 12 years. And my oldest son put in 12 years. And my son, Ron, he was in the Marine Corps. And my daughter went and married a guy, and they were stationed in Germany. And my family's been in the military for a lot of years.
Thank you for your service.
What happened was in 1999, I had this little old house, and my son, Chris, was thawing pipes on it, and it caught on fire. And the fire insurance I had at the time wasn't very good. They just wanted us to paint over, the old smoky house. And so, but I had money from working for Precision Cast Parts. Well, I had to keep paying for everything. At $1 an hour. But we took and stripped the whole house completely out, and had the county come out, and they approved the building. They approved the water, and they approved the electricity.
The sewer tank.
And they approved everything. I got the original paperwork, but it's out in the car. And so we took and had the county sign off on all, and paid for them. And that was in.
The windows too. The county had to make sure the windows
Yeah,
were the right
honey, that
size.
was all part of the house.
We're going to let Darlene
Go ahead, Mom,
finish.
go
And
ahead.
sir,
I want you to-
and then if you want to opine afterwards,
Okay,
please be
yeah, sure.
patient.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
Darlene, go ahead.
when they approved it, the wiring. Well, first the house structure, they took and went up in the ceiling and made sure that that insulation was up there. They went under the house and made sure the visqueen was down underneath there and the insulation. We had Far West Plumbing. They did the water system in the place, and it was all approved, and the electricity was all improved. But the work was done mainly by my son there and my other sons, and my one son put the new roof on the house and with the vents and everything, and now I have 2.6 acres, and the county code enforcement says that I have to tear my house down, the one that I'm talking about, because there's not supposed to be two houses on the property. But I lived in that little old house when the first house was torn down.
It caught on fire.
Yeah, it was electrical and it had sawdust in the walls, the old house.
Can I ask a question?
Yes?
The county says you must tear down one of the two houses. The house that burned or the house you're living in?
Both houses burned.
Okay, but you're supposed to tear down one of them?
Yes, and they had to tear down the one house that caught on fire back in 65.
That's the first time.
Yeah, the 65. Anyway, my husband, he went ahead and talked him into helping us get a house. And so we had to tear down that house that burned, the one that had filled the wood with sawdust, and, we had to tear it down, and we had the house put on the same lot.
Okay. And you're here to tell us that you don't want to tear down the house?
No, because, like I said, the little house that had built had one bathroom for 8 people. And the little house, it had a bathroom too, but it sure helped,
Okay.
especially when you have
And
sons.
is this your son next to you?
Huh?
Is this your son next to you?
Yes, this is my youngest son.
And would he like to offer some testimony
Yeah,
today?
Can he show you?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, see, what the whole.
And your name, sir?
My name is Michael Adamson. Michael Adamson.
Thank you. Go ahead.
See, what they're holding us up on, it's a violation. The violation number is V0040219. And the violation is that, see, it's kind of strange, but when the front house, the house that she lives in now, caught on fire and burned in 76, right? And then we rebuilt it in 77. Well, prior to, 76, it was okay to have 2 houses on the property, and they were both there at the same time.
Right.
They were both there, except the front one burnt, so they just rebuilt that one. And they have, that's what the stipulation is. It was like within, I think it was 8 months. That's what the law changed within 8
And
months.
have you just been recently notified?
Yeah, just now, after all these years, they've known about it.
25
Okay.
years ago, the county approved the place, and not only that, they before that, they assigned a private address to the place
Okay,
on the second house. They assigned
so
that.
you have 2 addresses.
Right, yeah, the first house is 27717, and then the second one is
And is it
277.
1 tax lot or 2 tax lots?
Huh?
1 tax lot or 2 tax lots?
One.
So obviously, this board are hearing this for the first time.
Yeah, right.
And we don't know what's going on.
Right.
Right, but we have an attorney here, and I have a county administrator over here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so if you would like, they can go to the department where this notice came from and possibly explain what's going on and help you through a process. I
Right.
don't know what that is going to be, but this board today cannot make any decisions on what you're bringing forward, but we can help you.
We appreciate
I
that.
appreciate it very much because, like I said, I'm very scared.
It brings on a lot of stress to my mom, and she's,
And
old,
I- like
she's
I
fairly
said-
old here, and she don't need the stress, and
Well,
the guy says,
congratulations for being old.
yeah.
It said in the, oh, anyway, what is, my sons are that are living in the little house, they aren't doing well.
One's had a heart attack. One's the vet. He's had a heart attack, and the other one,
Has
Has, like-
congestive heart failure.
Okay.
and so that's what
And
they're
he
living
had- And
in.
he had COVID and was in the hospital for 4 months. And then 2 months in Vibra, he had the trach down his throat.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Fed him through his nose, and
Right.
4 months in Kaiser. And then he had the trachea in the throat,
Okay,
and he had to learn to talk.
so there's,
But they need that house to live in. I don't want to see them homeless. They are old and sick.
right. And Gary Schmidt,
I'm just texting our staff now. I'm going to have someone come over from code enforcement right now to talk to you right after at this meeting, so you can get some guidance on what's happening and what we can do to be of help.
Yeah, well.
so if you can wait here.
Okay.
Somebody from code enforcement, and they're in the building next door, but they'll come over here. Have you
we've-
been over there?
Yeah, we've talked to Shane. We've talked to Shane Potter.
Shane Potter?
Yeah, we've talked to him, and he said I told him, I said, it's coming up. It's like, I think it's like the 15th. They want us to tear it down or charge us like $3,000 or something, whatever. But we talked to him, and I told him, I said, well, he says, well, you might want to go over and talk to planning, talk to the planning and see, what they say, And so it's kind of like, you talk to them and see
I
what they
don't
say.
know how this notice ever got generated at all. I don't know, we don't know really anything about this, so let's just try to
Okay.
figure out what's going
That'd
on.
be cool. I mean, it's like a
Anyway.
fresh look.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yes, madam.
Anyway, I called Shane Potter, and I said, why are you picking on me? Because everybody out there on Highway 224 has got 2 or 3 houses on their properties. And I says, why are you picking on me? And he says, because you got turned in.
Oh, so,
Yeah,
yeah, that's too bad.
Well,
Can-
we appreciate it, so.
Anyway,
Shaw, you have something
I'm
you'd like to
just-
say?
Yes, ma'am, sir. I just want to say that I believe that the Board of Commissioners has a commitment to property owners to be sensitive to your property rights. Sometimes these things come up, and I can empathize with your problem this morning, and I'm hoping that staff can enlighten the board with all the details. And it's my hope, as one commissioner, that we can come up with some sort of plan to resolve this issue in your favor. That's my hope. I can't promise that this morning, but I'm hoping that's the way it comes out. So you can remain in your home, keep your family together. And thank you for coming and letting us know about this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You bet. So just wait, and they'll be over here in a few minutes, and we'll go ahead and conduct the rest of this meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Is there anyone else in the room who would like to testify today?
Rick, you want to say?
My brother Richard.
Does it matter which one I sit in?
No, doesn't matter.
Okay, I
Would
got
you-
books in case anyone.
Sir, would you please introduce
My
yourself?
name is Richard Adamson. I lived at 27633 when I joined the service.
Sir, could you sit down so the microphone can pick up your
Got back
testimony?
problems.
Thank you.
I'm trying hard. I lived at 27633 since I was a kid. And I did 12 years of the service, my first ship. My older brother was on the same ship. I graduated from Estacada High School. I went through first grade And I did studies on me and my twin brother Ron in Eagle Creek, and then they sent me first grade to Decatur because I couldn't learn to read or write. But out of my time in service, I got my books to show proof I did 12 years. I got hurt on my first ship. I had a hatch pin in my head between it and the Coleman. Gave me arachnoid system right temporal lobe. And that was in 1980, and I stayed until 1990. But the house that I'm in, the property, my mom bought it in the 60s. In 66, she had it paid off by herself. And my twin Ron, he's the one that put Paul Bunyan Lane, 27633. He talked to the people and they put the sign at the end of the road. Way back when we were kids. When he was married to his first wife, Melinda. And they got a kid, and he's in his 40s or 50s now. And they lived in that little yellow house when my mom and me lived in the front house. And my problem is when I got back out of the service in 90, I moved back into the house. And that's been 34 years now, if you do the math. 90 until 2024. I was fighting a VA claim when I got out in 90 with the military, and I'm still 0%. I got hurt, and I had 4 heart attacks behind the wheel of a car in 90 when I was trying to go to work in Wilsonville. I lost my job because the heart attacks, cars got taken away. They put me on SSD. I have to admit that I've been having a real hard time with my life, but I had COVID, and they sent me over to Kaiser for 4 months last year for Mother's Day, and then Vibra for the 2 or 3 months to learn to speak. So I'm trying to get my voice and oxygen back.
You're doing very well.
But I'm forcing myself to do things. But I live in that little yellow house, and then my mom come up and showed me that paper saying, you're up to $3,000 some odd dollars, because it's $75 a month they're charging me to stay in the house.
No, that, I
So
find
if I
very,
gotta
I
pay
find
my
that
mom,
very
if I gotta
we find
pay
that
her
very
for-
disturbing, sir.
For that, I don't know where I'm going to come up with the money.
We're going to work through this, okay? Please don't worry about the fine. I cannot promise anything, but we're going to work through this situation.
But the right side of my heart's messed up, and on my left side of my lungs are messed up. I worked a paint locker in the service, and the chemicals tore my lungs up.
Okay.
And they
Well-
look white in the first x-ray. Now they're even whiter because of COVID. That's what the doctors told me.
Thank you for your service,
But I'm trying, and thank you all.
and go Navy.
Yeah, my older brother was Navy, Pat.
USS Dixie is what your hat says.
That's my first ship.
Wow.
And I got the books to prove it, how many years I was on it. I got my ones for the Peoria and LSD when I went to Busan, Korea. I've been as far south as Sydney, Australia. I've been in the Gulf, and where Saddam Hussein was, they shot at us, and I can name a lot of things that happened in my life. I had other people die. One person hung himself in the cell locker on my second ship. But I have to admit, I had a rough time in the service. The work was there, it was just the people.
Thank you very much.
And sorry for bending all your ears.
Thank you very much for coming forward and letting us know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I see no one else in the room who wishes to testify. Tony, is there anyone online? Gary, your light is on.
I'm sorry, Chair. I want to ask our staff, the soonest they can be here is in 30 minutes if you're willing to wait. And you can either wait here or in our conference room across the hall. We're happy to host you until they can come, but they will come. I can confirm no citations or fines have been issued yet. Our staff is willing to work with you to find a resolution. So no fines or citations have been issued yet.
Yeehaw, there you go. There's one answer, okay? And we'll work this out, okay? Please don't worry, but thank you for coming and letting us know. Tony, is there anyone online?
Madam Chair, I do not have anyone in the Zoom audience at this time.
Okay. I will now close the public communication portion of this meeting, and we will move on. Gary, what's up next?
Yes, thank you, Chair. And Commissioners, next is County Administrator Update. That's me. I'd like to share good news of our amazing county employees. Today, Commissioners, after this meeting, you'll be having a joint meeting with the Tourism Development Council. And I have great news to recognize our staff who work in the tourism office. First, did you know that there is a North American Bigfoot Center located in Clackamas County? Did you know that?
In Boring.
Correct, yes. Boring, Oregon is the home of the North American, it's right there, yes, the North American Bigfoot Center. Our tourism department recently helped support the North American Bigfoot Center with a poster advertising the center. And this poster was put up in government camp. And the center was so happy they wrote to us. The good people at the Mount Hood Territory Tourism have placed an ad for the center at the government camp rest stop. We didn't ask for it, but we are thrilled that they thought of us. Mount Hood Territory is an organization that advocates for tourism in the Mount Hood area. They have been instrumental in getting the word out about us, and they continue to be strong supporters of our efforts. We probably couldn't be doing what we do without them. So thank you to our tourism staff who helped on this project, in particular Annie Austin and Casey Kanopik, who helped make this happen. So great news, and you can say that today when you visit the Tourism Development Council. So that is my update for today. Thank you,
Great,
Commissioners.
thank you very much. Up next is Commissioner Communication. Paul Savas, you're up first.
Thank you. Well, the series of transportation meetings for March is about to take place. I guess our next meeting will be on Monday, the Regional Tolling Advisory Committee meeting, and then followed here, the 1st of April will be the Region 1 Act meeting. There will be some meetings with the OTC that are happening, just a lot of moving pieces, but it's been a little bit of a quiet period here for the last week or two. Kind of disappointed, frankly, that the short session did not take any firm action on any of the pending issues related to transportation. There was the special subcommittee for transportation that was enacted because of during the governor's pause. We thought there would be a lot of more meetings, more substantial conversation. There was to some degree, but I didn't learn until recently that that was going to end when this short session ended. So as I understand, there'll be a report forthcoming. We don't have that report, but we'll have more information about that. Also concerned about, from a funding standpoint, how we resolve some of the challenges. I talked to ODOT a little bit briefly, very briefly, regarding some of the road conditions out there on state highways. And the response I got was, we're in this funding crisis. We're not sure what we can do. And I said, well, we have cars that are now swerving around the potholes, and that creates a very dangerous circumstance when cars are swerving out of their lane into another lane. So I'm very concerned. Don't have any answers, but I'll look into that a little bit deeper. I was under the understanding that that their funding crisis would start really in a couple, 3 years, according to their bar graphs, that it wasn't present today as much. So I have a vague understanding, even though I've seen and heard directly from ODOT staff, but I don't seem to get a consistent answer as to what the situation is. I was, told not that long ago that we don't have a problem right now and we don't need to talk about funding. So, well, we don't need to put that on the agenda. And here it is months later, and now it's the #1 crisis for them. So I'm not a prophet, but I can read the tea leaves as far as the math and the finances, and I need a better understanding, or they need to explain better as to why we've been so late in recognizing the funding issues and actually what they really are or not. So as we work on that, I'm certainly not going to fall into the mindset that somehow tolling or regional RMPP or congestion pricing is going to be the answer. I believe it's going to create more financial hardship than it's going to create a benefit. And that hardship will not only be to the citizens of our county and the region, but in the state, but it'll also be a hardship for ODOT itself when it comes to the liabilities that come with that as regards to mitigation and local roads that are certainly not up to the capacity needs that will probably likely experience after tolling begins. It's very clear that in other portions of the country where there are alternatives to divert around tollways, cost avoidance, toll avoidance is a real thing. If people look at their phones on their maps and you go into an area that's tolled, you have an option to select a route
Right.
that works around tolls. So, it's not just a theory, it's a practice, and it's certainly embedded in a lot of the mapping software and navigation software as well. So all to say that those are serious implications, just so people know. There's a 6 times more likely you can die into an accident on a local road versus a freeway. It's far more dangerous, and by the way, greenhouse gas emissions are exacerbated when cars are stop and go traffic, congestion, and so forth. So just displacing the congestion off the freeway and putting it on the local roads is actually the worst case scenario for all the claimed benefits or priorities, not for. So that said, Chair, that's what I have for today.
Wow. Just wow. We're always amazed by ODOT, aren't we? Yes, thank you, Commissioner Savas. Commissioner Schrader, you're up next.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you what I'm really looking forward today to the meeting with our Tourism Development Council. One of the things I've been working on is looking at the information given to me by the Oregon Extension Office about agritourism and how much it contributes to our local economies, particularly for our smaller operators that have opportunities to make things on site, to host folks coming in to see what farming is really about. And one of the things we're finding out is that there are some conflicts with land use laws that need to be remedied. So, Chair, I've committed with you to take a look at that and get a sense of where the conflict is with operating an agritourism program on a farm, so we can make sure that the folks that are doing that can do so in a way that helps them maintain their businesses, make money, and for me in particular, educate people on what it's like to work on a farm and what it's like to produce the food that we eat and the milk that we drink and the nuts that we grow and so on and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that this afternoon, or pretty quickly here, our lunch, because I really want to talk about that. The other thing I've been doing is I have been visiting our local chambers, asking about their business recovery centers, and that's just me anecdotally going back and forth and seeing how did it work, how useful was it, and they were fantastic. I mean, I have to tell you, I'm getting a lot of great feedback. That was a great program during the crisis. So I'm going to start looking at some USDA economic development funds to see if there's any way we could maybe continue to funnel money to those programs. I think that's the way to go about it. So that's going to be a work in progress that I'm taking a close look at with that. And other than that, I want to thank the North Clackamas Chamber. They just endorsed me
Excellent.
to be reelected. So I really appreciate that for them. That was, after all my work with economic development, I think it was really nice to finally have our chamber recognize that hopefully I've contributed to the prosperity of this county. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader. Commissioner Scholl, you're up next.
Yes, good morning, Clackamas County. On education, last night I had the pleasure of meeting with people from the city of Molalla on their rally for a new Molalla River Middle School. I was given a tour of the building. It dates back to the 1940s, and it's in pretty rough shape. For example, the boilers that heat the building were designed to burn coal. They've been retrofitted since then, but the building does need to be replaced. And so in May, for those of you who live in the Molalla School District, you'll see on the ballot Measure 3-606 for a bond to pay for a new Malala River Middle School. And for those people who want to tour the school, you can call the school and get a tour of it. And I think you'll be impressed about the need for a new school. And please go to yesformalalakids.com and see what you can do to get involved. And on the cost of illegal aliens, House Bill 4159, which we talked about in the last few weeks, I'm happy to announce it died in committee. That was the bill that, if passed, would have provided free rent for undocumented illegal aliens for 1 year. And again, this is an example of how powerful the voice of the people is when they contact that state representative. Thank you very much for your involvement in killing House Bill 4159. Also on Measure 110, House Bill 4002A, which modified the current measure, passed a few days ago in the House and is headed to the Senate. And if it passes, we will see a couple of things happening that the people have asked for, and that is the recriminalization of killer drugs and required treatment. With the recriminalization and required treatment, you're going to see two options. One is for people who are cited with possession of drugs to either serve jail time or go to treatment. And a drug user can face up to 180 days in jail if they decline or fail probation and treatment. So this is a step in the right direction, and I'm hoping that the communities and counties in the state of Oregon will be able to make this work to help improve the situation in many of our cities. And on K-12 education, I just saw another report on some of the problems that Oregon schools are having. And one of the big issues I think that we can fix relatively easily is the high percent of absenteeism in our schools in Oregon. Now, many of the school districts in Clackamas County are doing a good job, but I pass that on to parents as something that they can take action on to fix. Finally, on short-term rentals, as many of you know, on 7 September, the county code on STR regulations was passed, and on 7 December, it went into effect. We're seeing some good progress on registrations on short-term rentals, but if you know somebody who has a short-term rental and it has not yet been registered, please have them go to clackamas.us/STRs and get that registered as soon as possible. And for the 47th time, I feel compelled to remind us one more time, votebeforetolls.org, download the IP4 petition, sign it, and get it turned in. Let's make sure we get that on the ballot in November to stop tolling. If tolling does happen, it's going to be your most likely, for people who use I-205 on a regular basis, it will become your fourth highest tax after the federal income tax, the state income tax, and your property tax. We cannot let it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Scholl. You may be interested to know, a very long time ago, I attended that Malala Middle School, as has my daughter, who is now an adult, and yes, it is in desperate need of replacement. Thank you for bringing that forward. The citizens of Malala just previously passed a levy to build a new police headquarters and police station, and the tax came on that was pretty high. I'm concerned that this is coming on the heels of that. I would have rather seen a school built and not a not a police station, because I think the police station could have been accommodated elsewhere. Just my opinion. But thank you for bringing that up. Yes, the legislature's in session. They should sine die hopefully tomorrow and end their session. And there's a lot of bills that we'll have an update on next Thursday, letting us know what the status is. And also, we have some important bills to Clackamas County awaiting the governor's signature. And until the governor signs those bills, we're just waiting with bated breath on many of the situations. The Oregon Health Authority has given Clackamas County a $16 million grant to address mental health. Oregon ranks low in mental health services and high in addiction rates, but we are changing that in Clackamas County. Our board is very much focused on recovery. We intend to build a recovery center, and so people can go there and get help, and so everyone in this county can thrive. And I think it's okay for me to say on behalf of the board that we're all dedicated to those efforts, and they're very important, as the overall health and well-being of all of our citizens is very important. Seeing no further business before this commission, we are adjourned.